Hello everyone and welcome to the start of what I'm going to call Season 2 of the AEW TEW 2020 save here on this channel. You will notice, obviously this is stuff that is like at the start of new save. I've recorded pretty far ahead before I decided to just do this as a state of the universe. So we're getting it like this. I just went, I had a copied the database, sent it back to the beginning of March, because that would be right after Revolution. All that stuff. So we will first, start off with just the state of the universe, then I'll go over a little bit of the history of AEW in the save, the relevant information that you will need to know. Of course, starting off with AEW itself, our champions would have seen last, if you had watched the end of Season 1 with our Revolution 2022, Garza Jr. is our TNT champion. He has been for a while. You can see the history down there. We've only had one Face of the Revolution tournament, which Vikingo won. We'll get to him in a little bit. Some women's tag team tournaments, Maki Ito and Abaddon, as well as Mayu Iwatani and Riho have won those. Mayu is your current champion. You can see Kana on there. We will get to her in a little bit. Adam Page, as of last episode, is your world champion. Briscoe's your tag champion, same deal. I think this is something that I had done, but forgot to ever assign it to anyone. And then FTW Championship, Scorpio Sky. As for our major stars, here is who we all have here. Rami Sabe, Sami Zayn, that's really the only big one that is a little bit different. Adam Cole, we'll get to him in a little bit. Your well-known people. Antonio Banks is MVP. We'll get to him in a little bit. Recognizable. Lots of people. We do have a number of regens who are fairly important. And the rest of the roster, I have a big problem with hiring too many people. It's the normal thing you see from TEW YouTubers, or just anyone who plays TEW. So there is a quick look, very quick look through the roster, quick look through all of the people there. To go look at some of the other major companies, starting off with WWE. Seth Rollins recently won Money in the Bank, Drew won Royal Rumble, Shayna the Women's Money in the Bank, Ronda is back in the WWE with the Women's Royal Rumble, Goldberg is your WWE champion. Okay, actually, at this point, it should be Daniel Bryan. Again, actually, when I had this, it was started in April. Just brought it back to March, so there are a few inconsistencies. Daniel Bryan, but Goldberg does have some interesting stories with him. Cedric Alexander, the game doesn't really know how to handle 24/7 title. Mustafa Ali, AOP, Becky Lynch, the Usos, Alexa Bliss, Humberto Carrillo, who's had a really good save, Seth Rollins, and Sasha and Bayley. WWE hasn't really signed anyone special or new or like at all. Neither of the tournaments have been done. Cross, Kendrick, Grimes, Undisputed Era, and Amy Hume, a regen, who I might as well look into right now. Have I? Okay, yeah, just a regen. She's had a really weird. Okay, well, she's beaten Rhea a couple times. Who I believe I have a few times gone up and done a bit of micromanagement, just make the world a little bit better. I think I mentioned this when it happened, but Rosemary left for the WWE. I've done things like calling up Keith Lee. Barbaro Cavernario has been signed. Really good in TEW. Then we have Dragon Lee got signed to WWE as well. He is in there. And Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara, he's back. That's always a fun thing. Su Yung has gone to the WWE as well. Of course, a lot of the layoffs that have happened in 2021 and 2022 did not happen in this universe, just because this is a state that started in August of 2020. So Braun Strowman's still around. Bobby Lashley's around anyways. But Dallas is still around. Andrade's still around. Tozawa's around. Aleister Black is around. Obviously, AOP is around. So lots of things there. One thing I want to... Whether the Raw Tag Team Champions? Yes. John Cena and Goldberg. John Cena has another interesting thing with this, if I can just hop on over to him. John Cena, this was about 3 weeks into the save. There was a cheating scandal with Stephanie and Stephanie and Cena. So, yeah, that was certainly something that happened. But I think most of the State of the Universe stuff, not really all too relevant. Actually, I might as well check out New Japan as well, because we've stolen some things from New Japan. Takahashi won Best of Super Juniors right before we got him. Conor McGregor is there. He won the G1. Sonata's your heavyweight champion. Jay White Intercontinental Kudo. Yo and Sho. Makabe Honma. Goto. I think those are Bullet Club people. Naito on New Japan Cup. Bushi and Daisuke Nakai. Kudo, Robbie Eagles, and Bushi. Those are your New Japan people. So let's get into a little bit of the history of AEW in this save. So right at the start, we had a lot of rumblings of new people coming in. People like Deonna Purrazzo, Tenille Dashwood, Maki Ito, Mayu Iwatani, Rosemary, Kyrie, and AJ Mendez, former AJ Lee, all came in. They were brought in to bolster a fairly weak women's division. Men's division also saw a lot of new people. Jonathan Gresham, Matt Sydal, Andrew Everett, Chris Bay, Jeff Cobb, Ace Austin, Jacob Fatu, and the big one being Miro. MJF would soon form a stable with Deonna Purrazzo and Tenille Dashwood, the VIPs club. They would later on bring in Chris Bay as an employee, as well as the North as employees. The Nightmare family would bring in Jordan Grace. Eddie Kingston would form a group with the Lucha Bros after they broke away from Pac. Pac would form a group of people who just really love to inflict pain, known as Brutality Inc. They are still around. And eventually, Ace Austin would join the Inner Circle after a big tournament of Jericho basically picking his new protege. And one of these stranger connections also formed during this time of Matt Sydal and Lance Archer becoming a tag team known as The Vision. The third Dynamite of October in 2020 would be the first time that there would be a really, really big change. Obviously, Miro was a big pickup beforehand. He would quickly go on to challenge Jon Moxley for the title at Full Gear 2020, and he would lose that bout. On the way, he would powerbomb Renee Young through a table, or Renee Paquette through a table, sorry. Of course, not actually camera trickery, but he would do that. But the TNT champion at the time, Brody Lee, would host an open challenge, which would be answered by the debuting Charles Betts, formerly known as Chad Gable. Whoops, we're still on unimportant there. He has been he would start working with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle and Sting were brought in pretty quickly to help things out. Shotzi Blackheart would then show up at the beginning of November, attacking Nyla Rose backstage. And then at the Full Gear pay-per-view, the first really, really, really big change would happen. The big, massive addition, which really changed things and helped AEW become a little bit more legitimate, as Kana would enter, win the Women's Casino Battle Royale, and later challenge, of course, Kana, former Asuka, later would challenge and win the Women's Championship. That night also saw another debut in the Men's Casino Battle Royale as Kota Ibushi would show up. He would confront Kenny Omega, and that distraction would eventually lead to MJF winning that Casino Battle Royale, and he would eventually win the title from Jon Moxley. Kenny Omega, quickly after losing the tag titles to, I think, FTR, I believe it was, I'm just going off the top of my head, would betray Adam Page, Page would get kicked out, and would have a long path of redemption going ahead. More signings would then arrive in AEW not long after, as Kota Ibushi, Kana, or mainly Kota Ibushi and Kana, would prove to be massive gains to AEW that really filled out some legitimacy. Donovan Dijak would join Brutality, and Garza Jr., the former Angel Garza, would later join as well, forming a faction of very attractive people alongside Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and Viperous. We also had Ava Everett in there for a little while, because Penelope was injured, and I needed people. Ashley Flair would soon arrive in AEW and make a bid for the gold. Zack Sabre Jr. would also come in from Japan, and he would join up with Kurt Angle. El Hijo del Vikingo would come in for the youth tournament, which he did very well in, and would quickly become one of the hottest prospects in AEW, having a challenge for the TNT title against Pac. At Revolution in 2021 would be another time when things would really, really change. Kana wins the women's title, MJF wins the world title, as I had mentioned before. So that was already a big thing, and Double or Nothing saw another big addition, that being Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman would come in, become the head of talent management, help to advise Tony Khan in his new company, because Tony Khan still not the greatest booker in the world. Just ignore the fact that Cody is the booker in this universe, and also the owner, because I don't want to deal with booker goals. But yeah. At the Casino Battle Royale, Samoa Joe would also make his arrival, beating down Cody Rhodes, and in that same Battle Royale, Fergal Devitt, the former Finn Balor, would show up as well and make a big name for himself. In the next few weeks, Hiromu Takahashi would arrive. Ricochet would arrive, and they would do a lot of their flippy stuff, because that's just what they do. The Briscoe brothers eventually would come in as well and align themselves with Taz, soon adding more bolster to an already very good tag division. Rami Sabay would also make a big addition onto the scene. The former Sami Zayn, Brock Lesnar, showed up not long after. And so, Paul Heyman, of course, bringing in his number one guy. It's, of course, if you have Paul Heyman, you're going to have Brock Lesnar. That's just the way it works. Adam Cole, CM Punk, and AJ Styles would also soon make their arrivals, and Ember Moon, the former Ember Moon, now known as Queen Lupa, would also arrive, as would Io Shirai. They would further bolster that women's division. Quick thing about Adam Cole. His introduction story, he's a zombie. He is canonically dead in this universe because of that one episode of BTE. I don't watch BTE. I did for a little bit on this series, but I don't know what it's all about. Um, I'm just trying to see if my script really has anything too notable. Not really. Layla Hirsch would join up with Kurt Angle as well. Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, the former Rascals, would join up as the Hit Squad. They would join Brutality Inc. Wardlow would be injured for about a year. Well, for over a year, I believe. He would get concussed pretty early on. And that would eventually make way for Griffin Slade, a regen that MJF would recruit as his new heavy. Adam Page has had a lot of stories going on with him. Mayu Iwatani is your fairly recent world champion. She has been a major star, because I'm a major simp for Mayu Iwatani. And now Io Shirai is there to take her on. FTR would do a lot. Private Party have been studs. The Vision have been studs. Tag Division, very good. Garza, right now, completely has a hold on the... Garza has a hold on the TNT title. Doing very well. And yeah, that's really kind of the main thing here. I just want to do a little bit of a state of the universe. If you have any questions about any other big storylines, what some people's deal is so far in this AEW save, just leave a comment. I will do my best to respond. I'll just go over the roster one more time. A little bit quick. Well, honestly, this is actually a little bit slower. It's a very large roster. Again, any questions that you have about the universe at this time, then just leave those in the comments. I will answer them. And that's really about it. We move on to Season 2 of the TEW2020 AEW save in the near future. Also, yes, as I mentioned, a lot of these pictures will look different. Just because I have, well, I'm recording this after I've already recorded episodes in June, in-game June, so, yeah, I'm very back and forth all over the place, but that will be it for the preview, Season 2.